What you want to see, and I'll explain what's going on. So this is coming from the Oregon State Capitol right now. You may have heard about the Oregon Department of Transportation and the raise to transportation taxes to help fund ODOT. There has been a massive petition campaign to upend those transportation tax increases and put those onto the ballot. What you are seeing here is the group we had it there just for a second. What you're seeing is the group that is against those transportation tax increases, bringing those ballots, over 175,000 of them, to the Oregon State Capitol right now, with Santa in tow, to hand deliver them to the Secretary of State. And that's what we're watching right now. You know what? I'm just going to pull this up here. We're going to go through and we'll explain this a lot more. Let's all watch this together here right
now. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, as we're awaiting whatever is going to happen next here, I'll explain again. So that organization there, as you see, No Tax Oregon, they are the group who has been part of leading that petition initiative to get enough signatures to stop those transportation tax increases where the funding was going to be going toward the Oregon Department of Transportation. Now, with the delivery of this could stop those. This was all part of an effort to fill a $350 million budget gap from the Oregon Department of Transportation. I'm not sure if Santa's going to speak or somebody else. I'm not really sure on that part, but this is all coming from that group, as they are going to hand deliver, from what we've been told, signatures to the Secretary of State of Oregon.
Sorry.
And there's an example right there. You may have seen some of their collectors around, or perhaps you were a part of that. There were a lot of them collecting signatures, and over 175,000. So it's clearly been a popular thing. These signatures do need to be verified, and that's why they're being delivered to the Secretary of State. Let's listen in here.
Anybody who wants to continue.
It looks like perhaps someone's getting ready to speak here. Yeah, it appears, okay, so this is happening live. So I'm following along with the same as everybody else, and actually our photographer, Frank, out there too, is probably doing the same thing. Just going with the flow here as this happens. And it does look like we're setting up here to hear something from some of the organizers here. So we'll await that. We'll stay on this and see what they have to say.
Let's go. These guys right here. I was
Testing. Does that work? What?
Yeah. Stand back to it.
Force make you nervous. Is that gonna be all right? Sure, I think that would be okay.
May I put this on you, please?
Oh, yeah.
Look this way.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, Oregon. So Santa and his elves have been very busy in an undisclosed location in Central Oregon, counting signatures and petitions. We have In these beautiful gifts that we've wrapped, over 193,000 signatures. And there's more coming, but we wanted to get them here today. It's well over double what the law requires for a referendum. I'm pretty sure by the time we're done, we'll have triple what the law requires.
That's right.
So we want to make it really easy for the Secretary of State here.
Hallelujah.
You know what? And the power players said this could not be done, right? We heard it from everybody. You cannot pull this off with volunteers. So I took that as a challenge. Everybody here took that as a challenge, and we did it. We should be very proud. We have made Oregon history with this. Never before has an all-volunteer army done this in such a short period of time. And so we all should be very proud of it. And this is going to be a moment, this is going to change the tax conversation for years to come in Oregon. It is, absolutely. This is much bigger than this referendum, much bigger. So we've sent a clear message to Salem: listen to the people. Don't force legislation down our throats without public buy-in. Don't govern for insiders or special interests. Govern for the people of Oregon, and that's what this is all about. I want to thank all the volunteers. We had thousands of volunteers and the petition captains. You know, I worked with some of them. They're out there in the rain and the wind. Yeah, holding those signs up, flagging people down. It was amazing. We had ODOT members, ODOT employees sign and help us gather petitions. We had SEIU members sign and help us gather petitions. This crosses party lines, job titles, zip codes. It covers everybody. I especially want to thank Jody Fleck right there. And without... What are you doing?
Here, you give me your phone.
Yeah.
I'll record for you.
No, without
and you
her
get up
hard
there with
work.
Your team. Get up there.
Yeah, Jody.
But without her... No, I didn't. You did. Without her hard work and dedication, none of this would have happened. So here's a Jody.
I wouldn't have had anything to do if it wasn't for you guys, so it took all of us.
Yes, it did. It took everybody. So our message to the governor and the legislative leadership is simple. Let's get back to work. Let's find a solution that prioritizes road maintenance, focuses ODOT on their mission, and does not raise taxes and fees. That's what the Oregon people want, and I think that's what they should rightly expect from their government. And I want to thank my co-chief petitioners, Senator Starr and Jason Williams with Oregon Taxpayers. And Jason, you have an amazing team working for you on this. Nick Stark with Oregon Freedom Coalition. This has been just an amazing team effort. I do want to bring up one thing, because under Oregon law, our referendum goes on the ballot in November 2026.
Yes.
That's what we filled out on our form. That's what the Constitution says we're allowed to do. But there's a Grinch. There's a Grinch foot. And the governor and the Democrat majority want to move this to another date. That's what's going around. And I got to tell you, and let's be clear what that would mean. It's going to guarantee a lower turnout of votes, because off-cycle elections would mean fewer votes. Everybody knows that. Moving this referendum away from the general election is about denying our voice and denying your vote. So I am asking all of you, you know, the governor ran this through without listening to us first, and then she delayed signing it. And I really feel if Salem insiders try to move this election, it'll confirm exactly what many Oregonians think. They don't trust us to vote. They don't trust us to vote. So here's the call of action. I want you to write your legislators. Tell them don't be a Grinch and don't move this election day, okay? Can you promise that? All right. Okay. I'll just close with this. You know, we have a proud referendum tradition in this state. We were the first state in the country to implement a referendum in our Constitution. And we're the first state in the country to actually do a referendum. And why do we do that? Because Oregonians have always understood that the ultimate check and balance on government power is an engaged citizenry. And that's what we are seeing today. I want Salem to take note. I want them to know that the grassroots movement is just getting started. This team has tasted victory, and they like it, and we're going to do it again, right? Yep. So thank you very much. Oregon belongs to the people. Let's take our state back.
Absolutely, let's take our state back. That is exactly what this is about. Ultimately, this is about Oregonians, average Oregonians that have stood up to the powers that be in Salem. Thousands of Oregonians from one end of the state to the other have stood up and said, not on our watch. Not on our watch. We're gonna have the taxpayers back in this situation in this state. And so my message is one of thank you to the thousands of Oregonians that stood out in the rain, in the cold, in the wind, and gathered these signatures. Thank you to the tens of thousands of Oregonians that actually signed these petitions so that their voice ultimately will be heard. And there's no doubt, there is no doubt that the powers that be in the building right over there are hearing us, are hearing you.
Yes.
There's no question. And as Representative Deal mentioned, this is not a one-time kind of a thing, I don't think. This is going to resonate into the future, and I think for not just for months, but for years. The fact that Oregonians stood up and said, nope, you're not gonna do this to us. And so thank you. I really want to thank Representative Ed Deal for stepping up as our co-petitioner. A lot of what has happened here is because of this state legislator who's an engineer by profession, who understands how to get big things done and bring a phenomenal team together to do it. The teamwork here is phenomenal. And again, there were no lines here. We are all in this together. So I really appreciate Representative Deal. Jason.
Yes, Jason Williams, Taxpayer Association of Oregon. This is the people's voice right here with nearly 200,000 signatures. This is a voice of no new taxes without a vote of the people. Just let us speak. Let us have a say. Let us have a vote. That's all we ask. Speaking of let us have a say, when the governor forced everyone to cancel their Labor Day vacation and forced all the lawmakers in the building, she did not show up to the hearing for her own bill because she was too busy going on vacation. She deprived everybody of a voice and didn't show up even to give her own voice. And there's a little thank you note that we're going to pass around. And I want to remind you something, the people that can't be here, speaking of a voice. This basically says, you not only helped make history today, you protected the most vulnerable among us. Here's what one person wrote to me. It says, I'm commuting 70 miles one direction for work, and I would end up living in my car if this gas tax is passed. That's a real person in Roseburg. Another guy, senior citizen Alger, says, I'm 81 years old. I don't have any savings or investments to help with my retirement. To have a big jump in gas taxes would sink me further in debt. Ask yourself about that. Those people on a limited income, the gas tax, how are they going to pay that? The gas tax rate.
All right. That, again, is live there in Salem for this coverage. That is the group that has collected all of those signatures. They're talking about collecting them right now. So that's the No Tax Oregon leaders and their initiative there. They said, I'll leave it here while they've got Santa there. They arrived on a carriage and they have, according to them, almost 193,000 signatures to stop those increases on the transportation tax that would fund ODOT. Now, I wanted to give a little more context on this. One of our own reporters, Abby, she actually covered quite a bit of this and gives you the idea of gives you a bigger picture, rather, of what these signatures mean, how this increase was working, and what would happen, once these signatures presumably are verified and they have I believe, over double the amount that you would need to put a stop on that tax and then put it on the ballot for the end of the year in 2026. So let's go ahead and watch this. This will give you, fill in some of those details if you need to.
In your vote tonight, it looks like Oregon voters are going to get to decide the fate of a controversial transportation law next November. Leaders of a grassroots movement say they have collected double the signatures needed to put this tax hike on the ballot. Today, Fox 12's Abby Davis talked to people on the front lines of the effort. And Abby, it sounds like they're getting a lot of support.
Yeah, they say this movement has really taken on a life of its own. Even though volunteers already have enough signatures, they're not stopping anytime soon.
We're getting 10 a page, and then I bring it in.
These days, Lisa's Furniture and Decor is more than just a Northeast Portland consignment shop.
I'll have customers come in, and I'll just ask them if they're an Oregon voter, and I'll say, hey, I have these petitions here. You're welcome to sign. And just about every one of them is like, yes, where do I sign?
Lisa volunteers for No Tax Oregon, the grassroots movement trying to overturn recent tax hikes meant to fund ODOT through a November ballot measure.
Most Oregonians like to save money, and it's too expensive for families to add more to our budget that way.
I've never seen this kind of response this quickly.
Republican Senator Bruce Starr says they've collected more than 150,000 signatures in the last 2 weeks, roughly double the number needed to put the legislation up for a vote.
I believed that we would get the number that we need in order to qualify. I had no idea that it would be this overwhelming.
Governor Tina Kotek signed the bill to address the Oregon Department of Transportation's $350 million budget gap. The gas tax is set to increase by 6 cents a gallon. Fees for car registrations, title fees, and more would also go up. Otherwise, ODOT says infrastructure will suffer.
You may not see the level of service you've come to expect from us in years past.
With the funds likely frozen until there's a vote, an ODOT spokesperson told me many employees worry how they'll be able to keep serving Oregonians. A concern shared by Governor Kotek, who spearheaded the bill.
How are we going to fund basic services at ODOT? They need to have an answer.
What we need is to prioritize spending within the Department of Transportation. It'll take legislation, it'll take, changing the law, but that's what legislators do. I intend to work across the aisle with my Democrat colleagues to get that done.
No Tax Oregon has until the end of the year to collect signatures for this referendum. After that, the Secretary of State needs to certify them. Senator Starr says it's better to have too many in case the state has to throw any out. Reporting in studio, Abby Davis, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, there. So some definitely more reporting from Abby, kind of explaining what this process is. And so what you're seeing there in Salem is this organization delivering those signatures, as they said today, around 193,000 signatures there. Those need to be verified, and then all those other things will come to pass. Those presents, what they did is they brought the signatures in boxes wrapped in presents. So that's what's going on. All right, here's what's going to happen now. They're delivering those. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're actually going to check in with our own Spencer Schott about another thing that is going on. So we'll leave. Well, let's see here what's going on with this. Maybe we do need to see a little bit of this as I'm watching this live happen. We'll hold on this just for a minute, and just see exactly where they're going.
They won't. I think they're going to have to stack.
Bring another cage.
Hello. I have the form in my backpack outside. I got to come back. And I needed help filling out one part. I'll go back and get it.
Hey, can we make some room? Representative Deal's got to come back through. Make some room, please.
We got one box coming in still.
Oh, we have a big box.
Big box coming in.
On top or in it? Okay.
All right. Well, we wanted to see what was happening there. We're going to go ahead and take off from this for right now. We'll check back in if anything else happens, but those are them delivering those signatures. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to be joined by our own Spencer Schott, who has been walking with Hillsborough High School students for an ICE protest all morning, and he's going to join us from there and give us a recap and update on what's happening. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this video end. And if you're watching on the apps, that's a great way to watch. We'll be live here throughout the afternoon with lots of coverage for you. So good time to download those apps or head to the website. Thanks